boy took that sack of flour and walked out. Then I began to call for the things that was needed the most for them starving children. I filled my sugar sack full, and then I says, "How much is this?" He says, $5.90. I said, "Well, Martin, I'll see you in 90 days. I said, "I've got to feed some children. They're suffering. They've got to eat now. They can't wait for me to get out and collect enough money to feed them. They've got to eat now." He said, "Aunt Molly Jackson, don't you offer to walk out that door with them their groceries." I reached under my arm and I pulled my pistol and I said to him, "Martin, in the name of God, if you try to take this grub away from me, if they was to electrocute me for tomorrow, I'll shoot you 6 times in a minute." I walked out. I went home. I went by Aunt Stringer's house and gave her the biggest part of the food for her 7 little children. And those little children was so hungry that when their mother was mixing up the dough to make the bread, they was grabbing the dough, raw dough, off of their mother's arms and cramming it into their mouths. My house, I went by Daisy Allen's house and give her the rest of the food for her little baby. My house was the next house, and by the time I got inside the door, the deputy sheriff was there to arrest me. And he says to me, he says, "What in the world, Aunt Molly?" He says, have you turned out to be a robber?" I said, "Oh, no, Frank, I am no robber. But," I said, "it was the last chance. I have heard these little children are crying for something to eat till I'm desperate. I'm almost out of my mind. But," I said, "I will get out, as I said, and collect the money by nickels and dimes just as quick as I can and pay them." I said, "You know, I'm as honest as the days is long." And the tears come into his eyes. And he says to me, he says, "Well, Aunt Molly," he says, "Goodman," he says, he was the coal operator. "Goodman," he says, "he sent me up here to arrest you for that," he says. "But," he says, "if you've got the heart," he says, "to do that much for other people's children," he says, "that's not got one drop of your blood in their bodies," he says, "then I will pay that bill myself," he says. "And if they was to fire me for not arresting you," he says, "then I will be damned glad of it." He walked out, and he didn't arrest me. The air is thick as silence. You can cut it with a knife. A man lies in the hospital, draining out his life. The trucks are on the back roads. In the dark their headlights shine. There's one man dead on the Harlan County line. Anger like a poison is eating at your soul. Your thoughts are loud as gunfire. Your face is hard as coal. Bitterness like buckshot explodes inside your mind. There's one man dead on the Harlan County line. A miner's life is fragile. It can shatter just like ice. But those who bear the struggle have always paid the price. There's blood upon the contract, like vinegar in wine. And there's one man dead on the Harlan County line. From the river bridge at High Splint to the Brookside Railroad track, you can feel a long strength building that can never be turned back. The dead go forward with us, not one is left behind. There's one man dead on the Harlan County line. The night is cold as iron, you can feel it in your bones. It settles like a shroud upon the grave of Lawrence Jones. The graveyard shift is walking from the bathhouse to the mine. There's one man dead on the Harlan County line.